Hey, my YouTube friends and family, let's go over missing Orrin and Orson West, missing from their California City home on reported missing, my apologies, reported missing from their California City, California home on December the 21st of 2020 by their adoptive parents, Trazell and Jacqueline West. And what I want to go over, I know there's been a lot of talk, and I've actually had several of you guys, we discussed these time discrepancies about a week ago, and I'll show you. But if you go back about a week on my community wall, you will see where I put out the timeline, which I'm going to show you here in the video. But what we really, it's really what we can't gather, but what we can gather is obviously someone's being dishonest. But who? We've got the 911 operator that told Crenshaw Incorporated a time, and I'm going to play a clip for all of what I'm saying now, showing, or so you guys can hear the times being told. So we've got the dispatcher telling Crenshaw Incorporated one time, which is an hour different from what the police chief says. We've got the police chief who says another time, and then we've got Trazell and Jacqueline who say another time. So here we've got around 5-ish, which is 4:45, 4:53, 4:55 is one. The next one is going to be around 5:55, and I may be a few minutes off, or maybe it's 5:45 and then 6:45. So basically approximately 5, 6, and 7 o'clock being told. So we've got 3 different times right now that we all are being told that 911 or the department was called to report the boys missing. So the only way I know to really go about finding out or narrowing the truth down is to talk to this neighbor, the AV watchman, and to this neighbor that we watched the camera footage on, and ask him, are your cameras 1 hour off? Because if they are not, then it actually lines up with Trazell and Jacqueline's time. But what gets me, and I'll show you on that timeline I did a week ago, is the time that the police arrived at the house is an hour off from what the chief said. So that's why we're all thinking add an hour to it. But if we do that, it's going to throw Trazell and Jacqueline's time off to where they're not being honest. So let's take a listen at the different times that we have right now. Oh, let me play it. Sorry, guys.
What I have here,
Let me rewind this
is
and play it because I want to make sure you guys are hearing all
time
this.
this was. What time was the 911 call placed to?
what I have here is 1854, which would be, that translates to 6:54.
All right, so you've got approximately 7 o'clock p.m. So 6:54 p.m. is what the dispatcher told Crenshaw Incorporated. All right, next.
Your kids went missing, and at what time were they reported missing to the police?
It's about, I think it was about 4:30, going on 5. It was getting dark, like I said. 5-ish.
All right, and we have Trazell and Jacqueline saying 5-ish. So that's a 2-hour time difference from what the operator at the police station said.
Statement, that's correct.
What time exactly did police get a call for service?
The call got dispatched at 17:43, which would be 5:43 p.m. in the evening.
Okay.
On Monday, the 21st of December.
So you're saying that's when it was dispatched. When did the call come in? Just a few minutes prior to dispatch?
Yeah, it only took minutes once the call came in to dispatch the call out, and we were on scene within 6 minutes.
Okay, so that would be police arriving by 5:50-ish.
At least, yeah.
Okay. We spoke.
All right, so there you go. You've got 5 o'clock approximately by Jacqueline and Trazell. You've got 6 o'clock by the Chief of Police, John Walker, and you've got approximately right at 7 o'clock by the operator and what she told Crenshaw. And here's the timeline that I have on the wall, and as you can see, we all discussed it a week ago because several of you guys noticed immediately, hey, there's something up with this time, and I agree, something's up, but we just don't know who's telling the truth, and why do we have the operator saying one thing different than the police chief? You would think those would definitely be times that would line up. But right here, I made this timeline, and we've got it 16:21. I've got that's when the back porch light came on. That was my assumption of when, that I think possibly he turned it on looking for the kids. So around 4:21, which would which would confirm Trazell and Jacqueline's time around 5-ish, because right here, 16:39, adoptive dad Trazell arrives back home from his 4 to 5 minute neighborhood search. And then 16:45 is when we see that, is when he had said initially, the chief, that the 911 call was made, which we do know it was actually 17:45, and that's why we were thinking an hour off. And I'm sorry if I get a little confusing, but hopefully you guys can understand what I'm saying since I've got the timeline here with the videos. But basically, if Trazell and Jacqueline are telling the truth, the neighbors' cameras would be correct, but that would mean that the police chief is not being honest about the time. So if we're to believe the police chief was honest about the time, that's why we're thinking the time is an hour off, because it would move the 16 to 17:52, which is 5:52 p.m. But if you look above, that would move Jacqueline and Trazell's time off. So it would no longer be their 4:45 to 5 o'clock timeline. It would actually be an hour later, like the police chief is saying. And I hope it makes sense to you guys. And then we've got that operator told Crenshaw a completely different time. So we've got 3 different times. Jacqueline and Trazell around 5-ish, police chief around 6-ish, and then the operator around 7-ish. So again, the only way to really narrow this down at least a little bit is to find out from that neighbor if his cameras were in fact an hour off. Because if they were an hour off, that means the police chief is being honest with the public about the call coming in, and that will mean that Jacqueline and Trazell were being dishonest about their time, because you would also have to add that hour into their time, which would put them searching and calling around 6, not 5. But again, let me know what you guys think about it, and I hope I made it easy and I didn't just talk in circles. But this timeline, it gets really confusing, but it's been something that's nagged at me for over a week now, as you've seen, or I showed you, I posted about it on the community wall, and other of you guys, I know it's nagging you as well, because we discussed this, and that's the whole reason why I put that timeline there. Just something does not make sense. Who is lying out of these 3 people? And again, the only way we can really figure out who's being dishonest or narrow this down is to go to the neighbor and ask, was your camera footage an hour off on that day that the boys went missing on the 21st? Because again, if it is not off, then that means Trazell and Jacqueline are speaking the truth. If it is, then the chief is speaking the truth, and so on. So just very curious, but let me know what you guys think, and thank you guys for watching.